All right, welcome into the Sewer Scrolls podcast. I'm Anthony.
And I'm Ryan.
And today we're going to discuss and just kind of review, react to issues 3 and 4 of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2025. Just to recap, issue 1 was Raph's issue. Issue 2 was Mikey's issue. So now we're on to issue 3 with Leo. I think it was a really cool issue in the same sense that how kind of being in prison was kind of perfect for Raph. Being a Japanese action star was perfect for Mikey. I think Leo kind of just going off and doing his own solitary vision quest, almost, so to speak, was, in fact, I wouldn't call it a vision quest because we'll get into this in a second, but it was very it was almost more of his initial intention was to kind of just go off and sort of just find a place to die. He was sort of that low, and if no better place to do so than amongst the flesh-eating turtles that live along the Ganges River.
It's kind of gone there to like the mecca of contemplation, meditation, that kind of thing, to kind of find himself in a sense, to kind of get away from it all. He buries his swords there. He meets these turtles and stops these poachers from getting these turtles. So he kind of seems like he's on a soul searching mission at this point.
That's what it became, but initially it had a really depressing kind of tone initially, where he basically says like, I've come here to die. I've come here to feed these turtles something that is already dead, even were his words. And then as he kind of starts to soul search in that journey and sort of connect with the wild turtles along the Ganges, he then comes to their aid when poachers are after them. So that's a really cool scene. That one kind of reminded me a little bit of Predator almost, or maybe more so First Blood, Rambo, where he's in the woods kind of hunting them down. And then of course Leo gets his own scene where he has to take on the Foot. They find
so he goes for solace and solitude and self-reflection, and of course his past, aka the Foot Clan, find him essentially. So they come encroaching onto his reflection and meditation, and now he's confronted. Well, I thought I gave up the past of fighting and action and all this kind of stuff, and it's found me, so I've got to take care of it.
And his action scenes were really cool. I mean, all the action scenes have been really cool up until this point. And obviously it's kind of been a similar theme in each episode where, the Turtle brothers are out there on their own. The Foot find them and they're trying to kill them off one at a time. His was really cool because he kind of takes care of them without much trouble.
I like the one scene where it shows him and he's just surrounded by Foot, and he got all the red dots and stuff on him, and like it almost you don't really see the action. You just see him kind of click his samurai sword open, and then there's just kind of like almost just pandemonium around him. Just like bodies around and stuff like that. And I thought it was pretty cool. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and then the hijacking the helicopter scene was pretty awesome. Right after that, there's one last guy remaining. He's kind of drowning, like splashing for his life. And Leo he found something out there, because he basically had no qualms just taking this dude, smashing his face in and throwing him into the water to pretty much die. So yeah, Leo's kind of going rogue there, whereas in the past, he's been one to show much more restraint. That's kind of more of a what you might expect from Raph. But yeah, Leo taking care of business out there was cool. So he hijacks the foot.
No doubt, no shadow of a doubt. He just kicks some butt there. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, yeah. And then yeah, hijacks the foot copter, and then he's off to go help the other brothers. So that was cool. I loved it. I think none of the issues have disappointed so far. I think at this point, if we had to pick one right now, I loved issue 2 with Mikey, but Leo, I think, also delivered. You're kind of going through the similar themes with each turtle on these individual episodes, or sorry, issues rather. But I mean, I guess it's kind of just take your pick. Who's your favorite turtle? That's probably the issue you enjoy the most.
Yeah, at this point, that every 1, 2, and 3 showcased like each turtle's like personality, and it's just yeah, kind of like you said. Which one's your favorite? Which one's your favorite turtle? That's the favorite comic you'll like, probably. I don't know which was your favorite so far.
So far, too. Just I mean, and my favorite turtle's Mikey. So, but just Mikey, Mikey a action star in Japan was just freaking awesome. But yeah, issue 3 had its more had a unique tone as well. I think I keep drawing back to this, and then on issue 4, definitely it was even more of a heavy influence. I think since the last Ronin, this new series has kind of started to take some elements from that, like kind of called earlier on the depressing tone of Leo out there, that thinking that maybe I'll just find a place to die amongst these turtles.
Well, yeah. I agree with that sentiment entirely. And like most people I talk to have like the same kind of mindset, and I think it kind of makes sense though, because like the fans that you're seeing, like the resurgence, are like kind of like my age, like in their 40s, whenever they were kids when it came out. And now they're kind of older, they're more mature, they're wanting to see kind of that, like, Dark Knight Returns kind of
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
version of, Batman, or Batman type, vigilante justice, kind of like at least hints of that in like, your Turtles comics. So I think we're definitely getting that with this new run for sure.
Big time, man. And then on into issue 4, I think there was even kind of a heavier influence by the sort of just dark tones and a little bit of kind of depressing tones from Ronan coming into issue 4 with Donnie. Is just kind of like
Yeah,
Donnie's completely lost it. His situation was the most hopeless and depressing.
yeah, I mean, I
Yeah,
agree. Like, just issue 4, Donatello, enter Donatello. He's a prisoner at this place called, like, what was it called? The
yeah.
Safari Zoo or whatever. Safari, like,
The deep
and
south, by the way. I think I
right.
passed it the other day driving down the road.
So, so essentially, like, he's cooped up, he's chained up, he's a prisoner here with a bunch of other mutants. People come in, they pay money to basically gladiator style fight these mutants. They can pick which one they want to fight. Of course, Donnie's the most popular because he's the most formidable adversary at this place. It's organized. They have security guards with like gates and all this kind of stuff. So people come in, they can pay to fight them or whatever. And of course, Donatello feels responsible, like he's got to protect all these other mutants there. So he's trying to like take the brunt of the action. So he's trying to be in the fights and get the other mutants like kind of left out so they don't get as beat up and stuff like that, trying to protect them. But also he's kind of like uh, watching and kind of calculating, trying to figure out a way to get out at the same time.
Yeah.
So then all these guys come and a whole slew of them come. I guess they got frustrated enough with them to try to, like, as a mob, attack this dude. And then, as of course, as you would think, the Foot Clan infiltrate, they attack. Now he's protecting the people, the other mutants, all that kind of stuff. So it's pretty. What was your take on that?
I don't know. Now that you're kind of recapping issue 4 might have been my favorite one of the first 4. It was it was completely in a unique sort of tone, setting, state of mind, completely very much distinguished from issues 1 through 3. with, getting into Donnie's sort of internal, struggles with his mental state. His physical state's obviously just, I mean, he looks like a twig. He's in this, what's pretty much a, like a zoo, prison, fight club. Like, it's just this awful nightmare scenario for Donnie. And that's when you start to see, he's deteriorating a little bit mentally. So that's where he meets Master Splinter again, which is
dead rat.
Yeah.
Well, and
it wasn't dead at first. He was alive at first. But then,
and to kind of talk about like why he's in that mental state, like in the previous run, the 150, like it really delves into like ninja magic and time travel. Donnie really delved into that and basically was kind of told like, hey, if you travel through time too much, it'll basically like kind of mess up your mental state. And he did that a lot, and that's basically what we're looking at right now is basically him traveling through time too much and just really kind of like scrambling his brain, so to speak. So he thinks that this dead rat is actually Master Splinter. And who knows? I mean, maybe because he has traveled through time, there's, he's seeing things that transcend the time continuum. I don't know that, because there are certain elements that kind of stick a little bit into further issues, but we'll talk about that later. But it's pretty interesting. Yeah, he's definitely he's not all there, or is he? Or is he more than all there? I don't know. It's pretty interesting. We'll find out later.
Yeah, man. I think. Yeah, his issue might have been the most interesting, the most certainly the most unique. It definitely had its clear cut, separate tone from the rest. And I do love I love the foot infiltration scene. And then shortly after, like, it kind of mixes this dark, depressing tone with some levity in there, because, if you guys read the issue or checked out the audio comic, as soon as he clears the foot infiltration and takes care of them, the brothers have arrived to save Donnie. But he's already taken care of everything, and then that's where the rat must have taken a ninja star to the head, because the rat was on his shoulder alive. It's now just like there's this panel that the rat just has a ninja star sticking out of his brain, and he's like, I found Master Splinter, guys. It's not all bad. And it was sad, but also kind of hilarious.
Yeah, Donnie's issue is really interesting, because you're kind of, like you said earlier, you're rooting for him to like kind of become the old Don, more lighthearted, as opposed to like kind of downtrodden, like worn and torn, like time traveling, mentally like ajar. Also, he's got the metal shell. He looks like extremely malnourished because he's been in this place for a long time. So you're really just wanting to win for Donatello. When you read this comic, you're like, man, we just want a W for this dude. So it's a really cool spin on it. I enjoyed it. So, and I was going to ask you talked about the audio comic. I watched it. Was some of that like SpongeBob influenced, or like 2 hours later?
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you. I was gonna ask you before on the podcast, but I was like, I'm just gonna ask now.
Perfect. Yes, it definitely was. I think if anyone watched it, they probably. My hope was that they caught it, the reference. It wasn't, but maybe it wasn't too glaring. I don't know. Basically,
no, it's not. It wasn't too glaring, because I was like, wait a second, is that?
Yeah, I tried to copy that. That was definitely a nod to that the French narrator guy. I tried to do like a mild version of that and make people kind of scratch their heads.
So maybe I shouldn't have mentioned it in the podcast. I don't know.
No, that's great. That's a great call. I completely forgot I did that. Yeah, I think that's all I got. I'm really looking forward to the next issues, though. But yeah, so where we are now at the end of issue 4, it's the brothers are united, so we're gonna kind of see where it goes from there.
All righty, and thanks again for watching another episode of Sewer Scrolls. And as always,